Down in Texas, there's a guy by the name of David Barton who has been for years and years and years barnstorming the country, pitching the idea that America is a Christian nation. His main shtick is that the Establishment Clause of the Constitution and the First Amendment that says that there shall be no established religion in the United States, that when they wrote the Constitution, they didn't say what they meant, according to David Barton. What they actually meant was, we're not going to pick among the many Christian sects. We're not going to say that the official religion of America is Baptists or Protestants or Catholics or, whatever. We're just going to say it's Christianity. That's David Barton's pitch. And he started this organization in 1988, the Wallbuilders, to promote this idea all over the country. And he is now best buds with MAGA Mike Johnson. And who has said, and this is just mind-boggling, this is the stuff that David Barton has said. He has said that the lack of a cure for AIDS back in the 1980s, that's God's punishment. Vengeance was his word for homosexuality. Barton calls himself an amateur historian. He has been repeatedly debunked and ridiculed by actual historians and actual scholars who note that he has no formal training and his work is filled with selective quotes, mischaracterizations, and inaccuracies. He published a book in 2012 called Jefferson's Lies that was so full of nonsense and lies that he himself wrote, not Jefferson, that his publisher pulled it and said, issued a public apology, said the basic truths just were not there. Barton was the vice chair of the Republican Party of Texas from 1997 to 2006. In 2004, George W. Bush brought him into the White House for outreach to Christians. Glenn Beck praised him as the most important man in America right now. He was the guy who basically kicked off Ted Cruz's campaign in 2012 when nobody thought Cruz had a chance. Barton endorsed him, and suddenly, Christians in Texas sat up and said, oh, yeah, one of ours. In 2016, Barton ran multiple super PACs that helped Ted Cruz get reelected. He's also rallied against the Johnson Amendment, which says that if you run a church, you can't engage in politics. In May, he and his son Timothy testified in favor of a bill which later failed that would have required all Texas public school classrooms to display the Ten Commandments. That's just weird when you think about it, because there's only two, don't kill, don't steal, in the Ten Commandments that are also law. I mean, there's no law in America that says you can only have one God and that you can't worship any other gods before them, for example, or that you can't lust after your neighbor's wife. It's frowned upon, but it's not the law. So anyhow, the point of this article that Robert Downen writes in the Texas Tribune, that's reprinted this morning over at rawstory.com, is that the election of Mike Johnson to Speaker of the House, the elevation of this guy to Speaker of the House, who's in so tight with David Barton, is evidence that what Dwight Eisenhower would have called crackpot, what Richard Nixon would have called crackpot, certainly what even Jimmy Carter, who was a fundamentalist Christian, would have called crackpot, has not just seized the Republican Party, but it has become normalized across the United States. And that's a very dangerous thing, frankly, as any of the founders of this country would be happy to tell you.